Hello everyone! Today, I'm going to create a half-zombie character. Some of the details I'll be adding through the game, while others will be crafted in Blender. I'll also be using Photoshop to refine and enhance the design with more intricate details. But that's not all. I've got a story to go along with this character. A pretty long one, so sit back and enjoy as I bring both the design and the tale to life. Let's dive in. The world wasn't supposed to end this way. Carter had always imagined the apocalypse would be a fiery crash, some asteroid or nuclear explosion that would wipe humanity off the face of the Earth in an instant. But no, this was different. Slower, more agonizing. The virus had crept into the world like a thief in the night, taking everything from him piece by piece. It started with his family. They were on the outskirts of a small town when the first wave hit. His parents, his younger sister, they had been huddled together in their small cabin, thinking they could outlast the madness sweeping across the cities. News broadcasts had been calling it the rot. Some people turned within hours, others within minutes. But when it came for his family, Carter felt like time froze altogether. One night, the sound of shuffling feet and groaning filled the air. The window shattered as infected corpses broke through the defenses they had set up. His father grabbed a baseball bat, his mother a kitchen knife. They fought. Carter fought alongside them, but in the chaos, teeth found flesh. His father's scream echoed in the cramped space of the cabin. Then, his mother. Then, Carter himself. Their lives changed in those short, bloody moments. The infection took his parents almost immediately. Their eyes glazed over, their bodies went limp for a few moments, and then the twitching started, the irreversible shudders that signaled the transition. They became monsters right before Carter's eyes, their mouths snarling with hunger as they reached out for him. But Carter was different. He didn't turn the way his parents did. The fever came, yes. He felt it burn through his veins like molten metal, and for a while, he wished for death. But death never came. The infection stayed, but it didn't fully take over. Days passed, and he realized that while he felt the pull, the deep, ravenous hunger for flesh, he could still think. He could still feel. Carter had become something between the living and the dead, a half-zombie, cursed to walk a razor-thin line between humanity and monstrosity. Years passed, and the world around him grew quieter, save for the constant moans of the infected that roamed the cities and countryside. Most of the survivors kept to themselves, hiding in small groups. Carter learned to keep moving. People didn't trust him. They couldn't. The few times he had tried to help, to offer his strength and knowledge, he was met with fear and suspicion. After all, he still carried the stench of the dead, and the shadows under his sunken eyes hinted at what lurked inside him: the hunger. It gnawed at him every day, especially when human food stopped satisfying him. He could feel it deep within his bones, the same craving that drove his parents to become mindless predators. He hated it, despised every moment when the hunger became too much, and he was forced to feed on something or someone. It was one of the darkest nights of his life when it happened. A small group of survivors had taken him in briefly, allowing him to sleep in a cave they used as a shelter. They were kind enough, offering him canned food and even some old bread. But it wasn't enough. His body rejected it. The hunger clawed at him like an animal trapped inside his chest. That night, he left the cave in secret, wandering into the forest. He stumbled upon a lone infected, wandering aimlessly in the woods. Desperation took over, and before he could stop himself, he tore into the creature's flesh, feeding on it like a savage animal. When it was over, he wept. What had he become? One day, while traveling along a deserted highway, Carter encountered another group of survivors. This time, they had seen him from a distance. They noticed how he moved, slow, with a limp but too coordinated to be fully undead. The leader of the group, a woman named Lena, approached him cautiously. Her eyes were cold, calculating. She'd seen too much to be swayed by sympathy. "Who are you?" she asked, keeping a firm grip on her weapon. Carter hesitated. He had learned to lie about what he was, but he didn't have the energy to hide anymore. "I'm Carter. I was bitten, But I'm not like them. Not fully. Her eyes narrowed. Half zombie? He nodded. There was silence, tension heavy between them. Carter could feel the eyes of the other survivors watching him, hands twitching over makeshift weapons. He knew what they were thinking. They had probably seen countless loved ones turn, countless faces go blank and hungry. Why would they ever trust someone like him? But Lena didn't attack him. Instead, she motioned for him to follow. You can stay with us, but know this. If you lose control, if you even look like you're about to turn, I'll end you myself. Carter nodded again. It was more than he had hoped for. Days passed, and Carter helped the group with their survival efforts. He scouted ahead, his heightened senses making him an excellent tracker. He noticed things the others couldn't. The subtle change in the air when the undead were nearby. The faint sound of rustling leaves when danger lurked. But the hunger never left him. Every night, he would withdraw from the group, hiding his trembling hands and his hollowed eyes. The fear of losing control was always there. One evening, after a particularly long day of scavenging, Lena approached him by the fire. She had seen how much he had done for the group, how much he pushed himself to protect them, even at the cost of his own sanity. "Why do you do it?" she asked, sitting next to him. "Why help us when it's clear you're fighting your own demons?" Carter stared into the fire, the flames reflecting in his sunken eyes. "I do it because I have to. Because if I don't, I'm no better than the things out there." He gestured toward the darkness, where the undead wandered aimlessly in the distance. "I have to hold on to what little humanity I have left." Lena was silent for a moment, her expression softening. "You're still human, Carter. Half or not." He wanted to believe her, but the hunger inside him told him otherwise. Time passed, and despite the uneasy peace he had found with Lena's group, Carter knew deep down that this life couldn't last. He would always be different, always teetering on the edge of becoming one of the monsters he hated. There were times when the others in the group, even Lena, looked at him with fear, wondering if today would be the day he'd lose control. One evening, as the group prepared to leave for a new shelter, Carter made his decision. He would leave. He had to. "Where will you go?" Lena asked when she found him packing his few belongings. "Somewhere far," he replied quietly. "I can't risk hurting any of you." She didn't try to stop him. Maybe she understood. Maybe she had always known that this day would come. Before he left, she handed him something, a small pendant, worn and scratched, but clearly valuable. "You're still fighting," she said. "That's more than most of us can say." Carter looked down at the pendant in his hand, his throat tightening. He nodded in thanks before turning and disappearing into the night. As he walked away, he realized that he would always be fighting, always battling the monster inside him. But as long as he kept moving, as long as he could still help others, there was hope. Maybe one day he would find a way to stop the hunger. But until then, Carter would remain what he was, half dead, half alive, and fully human in the ways that mattered most. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!